Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are continuing our Inktober special for October. So today's question, I am sorry if I butcher your username because I don't know how to say things with like special little characters above the letters, so Dre Eastbeat, maybe? Their question was, what do you do when you have a lot of projects piled up and you have to work on them, but you still have your job and school? How do you prioritize projects? So, I don't want to sound cocky, but I feel I'm really good at multitasking. So I hope I can help you with this and anyone else with how to prioritize and multitask with multiple projects. But to give you some context, I have had a full-time job for quite a while. Like, as soon as I got out of college, I did have some type of full-time job a few months after graduating. And then on top of that, I started this YouTube channel about a year ago, and I also do freelance work and commissions on the side. So I do a lot of things at once, along with try to make time to hang out with friends, or that we have like certain weekly things that we do. Like I have an art night that I do every Monday with some of my art friends, so we can sit down and get together and hang out and draw. And then I'd have like an anime night that I go to. I have all these different things, but I've kind of figured out how to prioritize and I guess organize them. So first and foremost, my biggest word of advice for anyone who's looking to multitask and do a lot of things at once: make sure to give yourself break time. That is the biggest thing I can ever suggest. Because if you go for too long, you're gonna burn yourself out, and then it's gonna be really hard to rebound from a burnout. So for example, I do it to myself all the time. And that's why I'm telling you guys, it's really important, because there's been so many times where I work an 8 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, and then I come home and I draw and I do YouTube and all this stuff. And there's been some weeks that I literally took no breaks. Like, it was probably for a solid month for my last burnout, that I just worked nonstop. I didn't play video games, I didn't go out watch movies, I actually didn't do any of my friend hangouts. Like, I didn't go to anime night, I didn't do art night. I just stopped doing all of that, and it murdered me. It absolutely murdered me. At that end of that month, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Fuck art, I hate this, I can't do anything. And it was actually really bad with like how much I crashed afterwards. So make sure to give yourself breaks, even if it's little things. I would recommend a couple of small couple-minute breaks when you're in big, long spurts of working. For example, let's say you're working on a project for a couple hours straight. Make sure to give yourself a couple like 10, 15-minute breaks during that whole process. But then make sure to give yourself even longer breaks, because what I've noticed is, yes, it is important to do a lot of those small breaks so then you don't like murder yourself, but the long breaks are actually a lot more helpful for me. So let's say I worked all day for hours on a certain project. What I typically do is take at least 1 to 2 hours out of the day, or maybe a longer break the next day to do something really fun to kind of reinvigorate myself or give myself some inspiration. For example, like yesterday, why this video is coming out a little late is because I was feeling a burnout coming on, because I've just been working, and then on top of that, trying to get stuff around my house all figured out and doing some personal life things, and it was just going nuts. So I just took the first couple hours of the day and watched some anime, and that helped so much. It reinvigorated my inspiration, because I get so inspired by watching like really gorgeous and well-written anime. So that helped spur me into being like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's create, let's make something. So that really helps, and that's a big suggestion I would say to preface all of this that I'm gonna tell you. All right, so in terms of prioritizing and figuring out how to balance everything, what I would recommend is kind of making a schedule of what you have and what due dates you have for it. And I know not everything has due dates, because I feel like some of the art projects you might be imposing on yourself are more, you know, personal, maybe not client work, but it helps to have some type of due date for them so you can plan around them. So for me, I have a very in-depth calendar. I have one that hangs on my wall in my office, which is a whiteboard calendar, and then I also have one on my phone that is connected to my Google account. So I manage a calendar through Google Docs or Google Calendar or whatever. And that one gives me alerts and notifications when things are coming up, and it helps me, I guess, block out bits of time to work on different projects and different things that I have going on in my life. So I can make sure, like, hey, you know, oh, I have so-and-so's birthday on Saturday. I gotta make sure I work really hard on Friday, so then I have time on Saturday to go hang out and not worry about projects. So that's the first thing I would recommend, kind of figuring out a schedule and a calendar and really keeping up with it. That's been the most helpful thing I've done for myself, and it would probably help, since you say like job or school or whatever, that would help you figure out, okay, well, I have this big project due in school, so these couple days I have to work on that. I can't work on art, but before that I can work on art during these couple days. Same with your job. You're like, all right, I work from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Certain evenings I can give myself to work, and then maybe this day on the weekend I can work. So having that will help you kind of block out big chunks of time, so then you do have time to work on things. So then after developing that calendar and trying to figure out when you can work on things, the next thing is kind of making a list of the projects by importance. So what helps me is figuring out, all right, what in the near future is due by a certain day, or what is most important to me that I need to work on. So for example, for me, I do have my job. I'm not in school anymore, so I don't really have homework, so to say. But with my personal work, I'm like, all right, so I have this client work that's due on Monday. That's kind of a top priority. I need to make sure to block out time to get that done. And then I'm like, all right, well, I also have some Inktober's that I need to finish, and I really want to work on my video. So then I make a list and say, all right, here's 2 more items that I need to do. And I just list out everything that needs to be done every week, even if it's not like physically writing. I kind of maybe make a mental list. And I'm like, all right, so client work I'm being paid to do. That takes priority because it's money. I don't want to waste this person's money or time. So I got to make sure to block out a good chunk of time for that. So then I look at my calendar and I'm like, all right, this night or these 2 nights or this couple days will work the best for me. And I kind of try to keep it flexible, because what I've been noticing is even if I make this foolproof calendar, it won't always stick. Things happen in life that are completely unpredictable. Like, you never know when randomly you'll have to go to the hospital for your husband. Like, that happened to me recently. I was like, all right, I'll get all this done in one evening, and I was like, oh no, he has to go to the hospital. So then, you know, you have to be flexible with your calendar and priorities. So after figuring that out and kind of being like, all right, so since this is paid, this needs to take this much time, then I go into the things that are more, I guess, for fun or are priorities to me, even if they're not like a for sure, like, oh my God, this has to be done, but have at least a kind of deadline, and I try to block out times to work on that. So I try to do this practice at least every week. Sometimes I try to book out 2 weeks at a time, because then that helps me move things around. Like if, let's say, that freelance gig went a little bit longer, I can be like, all right, I'm gonna push this to this day and swap some things, so then I can still work on my art and YouTube videos and still have time, but still get this freelance stuff done. So you have to kind of have a flexible calendar, and that's why I also like having that list of priorities and like a checklist, so I can check off what's done and keep track of everything that needs to be done. So then if I finish something early or maybe need to move some time slots around, I'm able to do that by just checking my list really quick. And then I know one thing I suffer from a lot is kind of getting overwhelmed, especially when a lot of projects pile up and you just have gobs and gobs of work to do. Like, it is really hard and it's really frustrating when you just have a ton of work on your plate and you're like, I don't even know where to start. And you just look at this long list and freak out because you're like, I don't even want to start this because this is a stupid amount of work. I don't know what to do. Like, who knows what I should start with? They're all kind of needing to be done. So what I would suggest for that is kind of slow down, look at your list of things to do, and think to yourself, all right, which ones for sure need to be done by this week? Which ones can I do on the weekend? Which ones can I do next week? And kind of just figure out what is most important. And I know that it's hard to prioritize and figure that out, but once you start doing that more frequently, you'll see like, okay, so these things might only take me this long. So then I can put those off until a certain day, or kind of put other things in front of it for now. And after kind of figuring out how long it takes you to make things and how long it takes you to produce or make different projects, then it should go a lot faster on figuring out what to prioritize and what to categorize. And then I'm kind of also a really weird example, because my friends call me a workhorse, and I just work, I don't stop. Like, I really love being busy. I love having a lot of stuff to do, I love having a lot of projects to work on, and I like keeping myself busy. One thing that my husband gets after me for is when I sit down to relax, sometimes I can't, because I'm like, oh no, but I really wanted to work on this thing, or I have this project that needs to be done, I really want to do it. And that helps me. It's not a natural thing, and I know it's probably detrimental to me, but I really like working, and I really like doing things, and I like creating. So I kind of have an unhealthy habit of working on too many things at once and just making myself busy constantly. So for me, I just am able to prioritize and bang things out because I'm constantly working, which is not the right thing to do. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just weird because I love what I do on the side, so it doesn't feel like work, it just feels like fun to me, even though it does take time and work. But with that, you gotta make sure to take breaks and figure out your priorities, and I'm kind of going on random tangents. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to stay focused, but it's just not happening today. So then let's get back on the topic. I gotta recenter my mind. But another thing I would recommend, where I was going with the workhorse mentality, is kind of finding ways to put projects in other activities, which isn't for everyone. It works for me. But one thing I do is I take my sketchbook with me everywhere. And in that sketchbook, I tend to plan or thumbnail or think of ideas for future projects coming up. So let's say that I'm at work on my lunch break. So for that hour, I could just sit there and eat food and watch YouTube videos, or I could just sit there and watch some random TV thing in the break room. But what I could do instead is eat my lunch and then sit there and sketch and thumbnail and plan for projects that I have on my list. And that helps me a lot. That's what helped me with this Inktober, was when I was sitting and waiting at lunch, or if I was going to a doctor's appointment, or if I was gonna be sitting and waiting somewhere for a long period of time. Since I had my sketchbook, I was able to sit there and brainstorm and think of other things I can do for these projects coming up. So I was able to thumbnail almost all of my Inktober's a couple weeks before this even started. So I kind of already had an attack plan for each of these drawings, and that helped them go a lot faster, and I was able to tackle this project a lot quicker. So kind of figuring out where you can fit in planning or some pre-preparing for different projects can help a lot. And then it helps kind of alleviate some stress of those projects. Because one thing I've noticed is when I sit down to do a drawing, it sometimes can take a lot longer because I have to sit there and think about, all right, what do I want to draw? What pose do I want to draw? Do I like this? Do I not like this? How do I want to color this? Do I want to color it? You know, having to sit there and think of all these things can sometimes also kill the creative mood and kill your, I guess, inspiration and wanting to just create. You just kind of get wrapped up in the pre-planning and you might not even get the drawing done. So taking advantage of the time that you have, like just the sitting time or any time that you have free, will help a lot. Like another thing that I would recommend is also just take time and do stuff for fun, especially in terms of art. Like, yes, there's always gonna be projects, there's always gonna be freelance work, there's always going to be something on your plate in terms of a project, but you need to take time to kind of sit and have fun with art and not feel like it has to be a project or a job or anything like that. If anyone who is trying to pursue being an artist and is kind of doing it as a hobby but isn't finding time during your busy schedule or job. It might just be because you're feeling you need to make a masterpiece in that time you're sitting there. So just kind of find time to do little sketches, like little things. It doesn't even have to be a big, amazing piece. Like, be like, hey, I'm gonna draw my dog today. They're sitting there, I'm sitting here watching TV, I'm hanging out with my dog, let me just draw my dog. You know, little things to help kind of spur on your creativity and keep you making things. It really helps. Just adding all those little things together will get you in the habit of drawing and creating and just kind of keep your creative juices flowing. It helps me a lot. I don't do it as much anymore just because I am kind of constantly working on projects, but when I do have time to just sit and sketch and relax, it helps so much. And I know, another random side note, I love going to coffee shops and sitting and drawing. Like, if you want to break from doing all your projects and you need to step out for a couple of hours, that's a great way to recharge, is just go outside, sketch some people sitting at a coffee shop, maybe go to the zoo, sketch some animals. Like, take a break, but you can also still be creative with your break. It's kind of how you define it. Like, if you take, I guess, better breaks and you feel more rested after like watching a favorite movie, or maybe going to your friend's house and playing board games, anything like that, that will still, like, I guess, feel very fulfilling, but also give you some time to rest, is probably a great break to add. But having just for fun drawings and going someplace to just sketch for fun, don't care about projects, don't care if this affects anything. This isn't gonna go in like some art book or sketchbook. It's just sitting there to sketch. That really helps. And I absolutely love doing that. So I hope this helped. I know that I kind of went on a couple tangents today. I was just kind of all over the place. But my final notes is make a calendar, make a to-do list or a checklist, and then prioritize from there and start blocking out time and making sure to take time for breaks and time for friends and family. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by and checking out this video. And if you aren't already, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have new videos every week. And if you have a topic you would like me to talk about during Inktober, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to see what you guys want me to talk about or touch on during these Inktober episodes. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.